A funny one, and I always say this, but it just sort of got finalized. I felt I did good in the debate, even though I was being asked too many questions, right?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, for 2 hours they're asking me question after question. Somebody said 47% were either to me or about me. In other words, well, they'll ask somebody like one of the other candidates, Donald Trump is not a good person. What do you think about it? I'm standing there like this. And then in the final 45 minutes, they couldn't ask me any questions because they asked me so many. It was embarrassing. I even apologized that I'm the one not doing it. And they said, Donald Trump decided to take off in the last part of the... And I'm saying, first of all, they made it from 2 hours to 3 hours, which is ridiculous. But they say Donald Trump took off. They didn't ask me any questions. I said, wait a minute. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to interrupt other people, especially since I've done everything. So the polls just came out on the debate. And the Drudge poll, 680,000 votes. Drudge, which is he's an amazing guy. And it's Donald Trump, 51%, he won. Carly at 23%, who did a good job, by the way. Marco at 7% and Ted Cruz at 6%. The Time Magazine poll. Time Magazine, I have no influence over Time Magazine, even though I was on the cover last week, right? Time Magazine has Trump winning 55% for Trump, 20% for Carly, 7% for Marco Rubio. And I'm saying to myself, gee, I'm watching these shows, and they say Trump was okay, not great, maybe had an off night. I don't understand. I thought I did fine. And they were just trying to beat me up. Woo. But I thought we did good, and I think we're doing well. And the most important poll are like the one, the USA Suffolk, that just came out a couple of hours ago. That's fantastic. So I want to thank everybody in the room and the other rooms that are filled up, who we'll see in a little while. But those people. New Hampshire, I tell you what, it's an amazing place. It's a great, great state. It's a great state. A friend of mine from New York said, what are people from New Hampshire like? Can you believe these questions I get? I'm being honest. What are they like? I said, I'll tell you what they're like. They're just amazing people. They love the country. They love to work. Like me, I love the country, I love to work. Yeah. We're all in the same boat. And we're going to straighten it out. We're going to make America great again. That I can tell you. We're going to make it great again. A thing came out. I was going to save it for a little bit later. But, we made that horrible Iran deal. And I just wrote this down. I was watching one of the networks, and they said, we should have had the prisoners released, right? I mean, as part of the deal. In fact, we should have made a deal of knocking the hell out of ISIS in Syria as part of the deal. There are 100 things that we should have gotten. We're giving them $150 billion. We got nothing except defeat. Because we don't win anymore as a country. We're going to win so much. We don't win anymore as a country. It's really embarrassing. So I actually tweeted this before. Do you believe this? Iran wants to trade our 3 prisoners. By the way, we have 4 prisoners. They're only talking about 3. The 4th, they're not even talking about. So they want to trade our 3 prisoners for 19 prisoners held by the United States and many other things. I mean, how stupid are we? How stupid are we? And it's just going to change. It's going to change. It's just going to change. So embarrassing. Bergdahl. We get Bergdahl. They get 5 killers that they wanted so badly. You remember Bergdahl? He left. He deserted. And we had 5 and probably 6 people killed going after him. And the other day I read for the first time, well, he wasn't feeling well. He may not be psychological. Who the hell cares? And they think he might get off with nothing. 6 people died. 6 people. And he was a deserter. Now, in the old days, when we were strong, what did we do with deserters? That's right. There was no deserting. You deserted, you had problems. He deserts, well, he's got psychological. We'll let him off. He's a nice person, right? I don't think so. So, a lot of the press has been nice to us in the last few days because we gave a very detailed tax policy where we substantially reduced taxes. Very substantial. And I'm going to go over it, but we're going to create a lot of jobs. We're taking jobs back from China and all these other countries that have just been ripping us. Mexico, China, Japan. We're going to be taking them back. But you know, they were so happy in a certain way. They said, well, we want policy. So I gave policy on immigration, and they were sort of happy with that. They didn't necessarily agree with everything. A lot of people don't agree, build a wall. They say, you can't build a wall. How can you build a wall? It's going to be too expensive. Our trade deficit with Mexico is $45 billion a year. Don't forget I said Mexico. I love Mexico. I love the Mexican people. I have thousands and thousands of Mexican people that have worked with me over the years. Thousands. I have a great relationship. But their leaders, I say it all the time, are too smart for our leaders, too cunning, too sharp. And they're ripping us. So we have a deficit. Nabisco's moving. Nabisco. What's more United States than Nabisco? They're moving to Mexico from Chicago. They're going to make Oreos in Mexico. No, think of it. And then we have Ford Motor Company. $2.5 billion plant. You heard that story. I'm not going to tell it. Because if I do, they'll kill me. You know, I have all these live television sets. You know, every other candidate can go and make a speech. Every other candidate. And they make the same speech for months. But they have 100 people. For instance, Jeb Bush is down the road. They're expecting 125 people tonight. No, it's true. Now, I'm going to tell you, because we have been getting amazing crowds. We had 20,000 people on Friday in Oklahoma. 20,000 people. In Oklahoma, a great place. That was an amazing event. We had 20,000 people. We filled up a stadium, you know, where the Mavericks play. Mark Cuban, good guy. And he has the Mavericks, and it's called American Airlines Center. That's in Dallas. 20,000 people showed up. Some were so far up, I said, can you even see me? And we had 3 days to do it, because when we got it, in fact, when they said, you know, you could have that arena if you wanted, I said, when? Monday night. This was like Thursday. I said, how can we fill it up? The first day they did 12,000 people. Then we went to Mobile, Alabama, as you know. Just before that, we had 35,000 people. It's been amazing. So tonight, and I want accurate counts, because these people, they don't count heads. You know, they'll say, yeah, the place was okay. The press, they are so By the way, pan out on these people, please. CNN and all of you live cameras, pan out. Because you know what they do? They have the camera, live television, on my face the entire amount. My wife goes, I go home. Were there any people there tonight, darling? They don't see. They never show the crowds. They never show. They don't want to. They don't want to. And this room, we have another room just as big, CNN and all the people. But, you know, it's so important. So, the fire marshal. The only reason, because we have a lot of people can't even get in. 3,564. That's what we have, exactly. And we love the fire marshals, but the fire marshal actually, right over here, the fire marshal said you can't have them in the aisles. No, it is a one-story building. If there's a problem, we get out of here. So I'll be the first one out the door, believe me. They don't want out. So anyway, we have 3,564 people. We have closed circuit. It's amazing. It's great. And it's always like this, by the way. It's always like this. We did have one event, so beautiful, in South Carolina. I was called by a friend of mine who's African-American, a great guy. The South Carolina African-American Chamber of Commerce. He wrote the most beautiful letter tonight. I said I was going to read it to you. He put it in one of the papers. It was in one of the papers today. And there was a last-minute thing that said, would you speak? And I liked it. I'm speaking to the African-American Chamber of Commerce, South Carolina. I went, and actually, they didn't come from the back. They just formed in the front. It was beautiful. And they said it was the biggest crowd, the best crowd they've ever had. It was such a beautiful day. It was a lunch. And it was wonderful. And the cameras, because they were all up front, the cameras showed chairs in the back that were empty. Like, oh, Trump's lost it. Is Trump losing? And I just walked in and did him a favor. And these people were so angry at the way they were treated. African-American people that do such a great job. And you have to see the letter. Anybody wants it, we have them, because it was such a beautiful letter. And so unfair the way they were treated and the event was treated. And that's why when I go to things like this, I like to have the press see what's going on, because there is a movement going on. This is more than like, oh, gee whiz, people show up. When Bush has 125 people, and when Rubio comes in and you have 12 people, it's true. And when all of the other ones, I don't want to say about everybody, because some of them I really like, but nobody has crowds like us. Nobody. Including Bernie, who does pretty well. Nobody. And the fact is, something's happening. Something incredible is happening. So what's gone on is we put in policy on immigration, and that's build a wall. People have to come into the country legally, have to do it. Have to do it, have to do it. Or we don't have a country. The anchor babies, we're going to have to do something there. And by the way, when I first brought that up, you know, people come in, they're in the other side, they're on the other side of the border. They have a baby, they walk across the border, because nobody stops anybody. You know, it's like we're open territory. The woman has a baby on our land in the United States. Now we have to take care of that baby for 85 years. That baby becomes a citizen. And I said, it can't be. And everybody said, oh no. That baby is a citizen, born in the United States, born on our land. Turned out I'm right. Because they're not coming in legally. And if you read the language, other than some television scholars that said, no, the baby's ours, we have to take care of the baby forever. People are coming from China. They're coming from all over Asia. They're coming from Latin America, South America. They're coming from Mexico. They walk across the border. It's ours. Doesn't read that way. And I didn't think, you know, they said, oh, you have to go through a whole big thing. Every state has to go to referendums. It's the 14th Amendment and so many different things, right? But it's not working that way. It's wrong. And I turned out to be right. Because the real scholars said, he's right. Now maybe it's going to, no, it's right. How can it be wrong? So this is something that's come up. We have to get rid of these sanctuary cities. It's disgraceful. Because I've had so many friends that I've made. First of all, you know, Kate, magnificent Kate, shot in the back and killed in San Francisco, sanctuary city. Can you believe it? I have property in San Francisco. I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building. Can you believe it? I feel when I hear San Francisco, I always felt so good. Now you learn about sanctuary cities. The state of Florida had sanctuary cities while Jeb Bush was governor. Nobody said anything. And you know, I've gotten very friendly, very, very friendly with a lot of the people because it's become a very important issue for me. The whole thing with illegal immigration and crime. It's far worse than anybody in this room understands. Far worse. Far worse. Tremendous people coming. But you have some terrible, terrible problem. The other week, as you saw, I got a lot of press. A woman, 66-year-old veteran, raped, sodomized, and killed by an illegal immigrant. Just came in, killed her. 66-year-old veteran, killed her. And that's happening all over. We're going to stop it. We're going to stop it. We're going to have a wall. And I'm really good at walls, believe me. What I do great. I build. What I do better than anyone. That's why with the infrastructure of the country, it's falling apart. We're spending money all over the world. We don't even know where we're spending money. I was going to bring up today, they have a list of some of the dumb things that the country does. One of them was a washer. You know what a washer is? That's where the screw, you put the washer, get a little extra grip. So it was a 2-cent washer. And by the time it went from, I think it was South Carolina to Texas, it was this circuitous route. It cost $988,000 to have it delivered over a long period of time. There's so many things like that. There are so many things. There are item after item, hammers that you buy for $7, $8, selling for thousands, that we buy as a country for thousands of dollars. Some people are getting really rich. Who are these people that are making these deals? You're probably saying, maybe I do too. We want a part of these companies, right? Well, I want a piece of it. But where they're selling things that sell in a store for pennies, they're selling them for thousands of dollars. There's so much fat. So much fat.
To the government.
And I get a lot of credit for coming out with immigration. Some people don't agree. They think it's harsh. Some people think it's great. You know, Dwight Eisenhower was a wonderful general and a respected president, and he moved 1 million people out of the country. Nobody said anything about it. When Trump does it, it's like, oh. When Eisenhower does it, it's fine. Well, that was Eisenhower. He was allowed to do it. You know, we can't do it. That was also in the 50s. Remember that. Different time. That's when we had a country. That's when we had a country. That's when we had borders. You know, without borders, you don't have a country, essentially. We don't have a country. Without borders, you just don't have it. But Dwight Eisenhower, there's big reports. And they used to take him out and put him on the other side of the border. Say, you have to stay here. And they come right back. And they do it again, and do it again. And then they said, wait, this doesn't work. And they took him out and moved him all the way south. All the way. And they never came back again. Because it was too far. Amazing. And I'm not saying this in a joking way. I'm saying this is what happened. It wasn't working. They were coming right back. And then they literally moved them all the way. And I have to tell you, a lot of the politicians, they never came back because it's too far.